Hello, my darlings. Hello and welcome, welcome, welcome. You've got me here, Daniella Langford, your sovereignty specialist here at Redesign Your Life Forever. You've got me fresh out of the shower, actually. And I would like to welcome you to another edition of Wisdom Wednesdays. Super excited to be here for this one tonight. This is going to be a fun one that I can't wait to share with you. This is a question that I get every week, without fail. This is a question that I have asked myself for years. This is a question that, if you're on the path, you've asked yourself more than once. It's that, how on earth do I deal with all of these unconscious people around me without emotionally shutting down? That is a huge question I get all the time. I mean, I go into any Walmart, go into any Target, go into any mall, go into any place that's public. Hey, Miss April, good to see you, my love. Go into any place that's public, and you probably have, within 5 minutes or less, gone, oh my god, these people. Am I right? So, how do we deal with unconscious people? We are surrounded by them. I actually once made a group in high school of a group of us that I called the 2%, and that basically was the 2% of us that were waking up and weren't the waking dead that were walking around us on our phones all the time, that bonk into, actually bonk into light poles because they're wandering around on their phones all zombified, right? This has been a huge theme for me, and it probably has been for you too. As you've gone through your journey, as you've gone through your life, you probably were the one sitting around going, the fuck is going on here? What is this? What is this nonsense? Hey, Miss Leslie, good to see you. Yes, she says the struggle is real. Yes, it is very real. So today I wanted to share with you one of my favorite tools to deal with the walking dead, as it were, the walking living, and to deal with them more or less, not to deal with them, but to save your own sanity, okay? Because what you will come to find out, if you haven't already, is that there's not much you can do about the waking dead. The walking dead. We'll call them the waking dead. Bless their hearts. There's not much you can do about it. Not directly, anyway. And if you haven't found this out yet, you probably will beat your head against the wall until you do. Ask me how I know. Right? As healers, as light workers, as indigos, as starseeds, all of these things, all of us, that we're coming together at this time, we bang our heads against the wall trying to wake everybody else around us up. Because that's what we've come here for. That's what I'm doing right now, talking to you on this camera. Is trying to assist in waking as many people up, or assist them on their process of waking up, as I can. That's probably what you do all day, every day, without realizing it. But yet, we bang our heads against the wall because, guess what? Either they're not ready to wake up, it's not their time to wake up, it's not their lifetime to wake up. That's not what they're doing here. I had the hardest, can I just, share a moment with you? That has been one of the hardest things for me to wrap my brain around. As a light worker, as a starseed, as an indigo, as all of these things myself, right? As you are too, no doubt. It has been the hardest thing to wrap my brain around. How people are happy to stay asleep. That has been the thing that has boggled my mind since day one. And I mean day one. As soon as I got here, it's like, what is this nonsense? Why isn't everybody trying to wake up? Why isn't everybody trying to, at least trying to do something? Drives me up the wall. Drove me up the wall for decades. It contributed to a lot of anxiety. It contributed to a lot of anger problems when I was younger. Because, here's this warrior spirit. Here's this light warrior going, okay, I got called in for this job. I'm supposed to be a healer. I'm supposed to be here. Supposed to help you guys out. You're not listening. Duh! Right? How many of you guys out there feel like that, right? So This is a technique that I learned, and oh god, I can't remember where I came across it now. I mean, I can vividly remember the man's voice in my head, but I could not give you his name at the moment. But when he was explaining this in conference, it just blew my mind. It kind of really gave a very interesting perspective to the whole thing. And I have been using that technique as much as I can remember to ever since. And it really lends to my background in this lifetime, in theater, in design, in, the extravaganza of it all, right? Trying to collect myself, make sure I put everything out in the right order. Because sometimes it all just starts coming in at once and my mouth will not keep up. So sometimes it's just best if I give it a second to settle in. Okay, so the technique itself. If you've been there... Yeah, April says it doesn't take any effort. That's right. So, what we've realized is that we can't change these people over here. All the unconscious people, they either want to be unconscious, it's their role to be unconscious, it's not their time to wake up yet. All of these factors that, guess what, have nothing to do with you. That's number one. And that's super hard for us as light workers and indigos and warrior spirits, light warriors. That's a hard one for us to grasp. Because we know that they called in the cavalry. That's what we're doing here. On a spiritual level, the world called in the cavalry. The light worker cavalry, we'll call, right? They called us in. They said, holy shit, we need some help waking everybody up. We need help raising the vibration of the planet. In we come. Incarnate, we show up. We know that there's some kind of mission going on here. We know that we have a lot of light and love to share. What happens? Either we get ignored or we get shut down. We don't understand. Hey, Miss Heidi, good to see you. We don't understand that it's not their time. That they're happy to stay asleep, that it's their role to play. In the conscious mind, we're not getting that. It has nothing to do with our mission. Take that in for a second. All of this shit, all of their shit, has nothing to do with us. Has nothing to do with you. Mind blown, right? That's a hard one for me too. The second thing is that we cannot interfere directly, because that is imposing our will on people in the karmic law of wheel of motion and action doohickey. That's a technical term. We can't do anything about it face to face, because that's imposing our will on people. What happens when you impose your will on people? You get will imposed upon you. Balance. Right? All of these things are hard for us to come to terms with. The third thing is where the key is going to be. Is that everything in here, I know you can't see as far as my arms can go. Everything in here, as far as your arms will go, this is your bubble. Your energy bubble. Your immediate energy bubble goes about as far as your arms stretch out in all the directions. Okay. Including past your feet and up and all the things, right? This is the only thing you have any control over. So when it comes to being a healer, so when it comes to being a light worker, when it comes to trying to help and wake up and assist and guide the people that we're around the most, that are the most asleep, bless them, we have to remember that the only thing we actually have any power to affect, I shouldn't say that, rewind, the only thing between individuals that we have any power to affect, really, that has no karmic consequences, is ourself. And I shouldn't even say that it doesn't have karmic consequences, because it does. It has great karmic consequences if you start dealing with your own shit. And that's what we're doing here. But point is that you've got this bubble. This is the tool, okay? You've got all these unconscious people. They're wandering around. They're your family members. They're your parents. They're your spouse. They're your kids. They're that guy you hate at work. They're your boss. They're all of these people. You know, the woman at the grocery store with the coupons, okay? Or the pennies, right? Anything that's outside of this bubble that did not originate from you, okay, is theater. That's why we're bringing it back around. If you've been watching the whole thing, which hopefully you have. Everything outside of you is theater. It is shit put there to entertain us. Or teach us something. Mirror something back to us. Which is what theater does. With its social commentary and dramas and comedies. And they're reflecting the lives of everyday man. More or less. Right? Everything outside of yourself is theater. So that super asleep person that's at work that you just can't stand because they just are so unconscious. They just couldn't give a shit. Drives you nuts. That's a role they are playing. That is a role that they signed up to play. Boggles the mind. As a starseed, as a light worker, as a light warrior, because it's very specific. There's a very specific temperament to a light warrior. And if you're on this, if you're on this temperament, you probably are one. Because we get a little about justice and about, things like that. When we see things like this happening. It drives us crazy. Because we can't comprehend, from our perspective of who we are, we can't comprehend not giving a shit like that. Being that asleep. We just can't comprehend it. It's just not part of our operating system. So it's hard to disengage. But if you can remember to disengage, hey Miss Latasha, good to see you, baby. If you can disengage and remember that anything that's outside of this bubble is theater, and in a sense too that it's not real. Because when you think about it, time and space and all, la-di-da-di-da, holographic world theory, blah, 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 blah. Totally different topic for another time. But basically, if it's not in your immediate presence, it doesn't have to affect you. And in that, if you can start looking at it as theater, you will save yourself so much wall banging. Because then you can look at it and go, oh, they're an actor playing a role. On the soul level, now mind you, the conscious mind they are not aware they are playing a role, okay? So don't go and tell them that they're playing a role, because that won't go over well either. Ask me how I know. I've tried it all, folks. But if you could look at it as theater, if you can separate yourself out in that way, that you are the audience, and they are an actor playing a role, then it's not so triggery anymore. It's not so personal anymore. And you bang your head against the wall a whole lot less. All of these people we run into in the supermarket, asleep, they're playing a role. That is literally the role that they are playing. A classical, archetypal role. Could be the fool, could be the king, could be any of these roles, but they are just simply playing a role. So if you can, hey Miss Cindy, good to see you, I haven't seen you in a while. So if you can separate yourself out, in that, you are the audience and anything that's outside of you is theater, you can take I shouldn't say the personality of it out, but you can take the personable personality of it out. That doesn't sound right. You guys know what I mean. You can take the personal aspect of it out. You can take the personal blow of it out. Take the sting of it out. Because they're just a character. They are an actor on a stage. All the world's a stage. You are playing a role too. You are playing a role in somebody else's theater. You are probably playing a bunch of different roles in a bunch of different people's theater. I'm playing a role in your theater. But if you can break it down and you can pull yourself out of the situation and look at it and go, you know what? That's really crazy. That person, yeah, they're super asleep, but you know what? It's kind of funny. This just turned into a comedy. They bump into the pole, you know. It's theater. So if you can start to separate that out, if you can start to take the personal sting out of these things, it's almost like a personal insult that people don't want to wake up. For those of us who are light workers and starseeds and all of this, it's almost like it's a personal insult. And I know how you feel. So if you can take that and change it from feeling like a personal insult to looking at it like they are a character up on a stage. They are playing the role of aloof. They are playing the role of the intimidator. They are playing the role of the interrogator. They're playing the role of the victim. That's a big one. All of these are also control dramas too, which is again another topic. But if you can start to take it apart, see it as a role, realize that all of the change you want to affect in the world, you can work within yourself. When you change yourself, it literally changes everything else around you. It's true. Man in the mirror time. Michael knew something. A lot of artists knew something. But that's just the one that comes to mind because that's one of my favorite songs. You have to affect the change you want to see in other people in yourself. So if you want somebody to be more compassionate, work on you. Is that going to get rid of all of the assholes in the world? No. Well, maybe eventually. But, do you know what I'm saying? Because even if you can't change the situation outside of you, even if you've done you, and you're blissed out and you're all good to go, even if you can't change the situation outside of you, you then have the power to determine how you react to that situation, and that is where the power actually lies. That is where you stop banging your head against the wall. That's how you deal with unconscious people, is you separate that insult, separate that personal hit, that personal attack of the fact that they're walking around unconscious. You're trying to help them, or you're just trying to go about your daily life, and it's aggravating that they're unconscious. They're playing a role. They're playing a role, if they're in your life, for you. As a mirror, as a reflection, as all of these things, which is a whole nother topic. But the tool is anything that's outside of this bubble of energy, anything that's not you in this immediate bubble. We're not talking about quantum string theory and that we all are one another. That's a whole nother topic. But in this immediate incarnation bubble, anything that is not you is theater. So enjoy the show. Laugh because it's crazy. Enjoy. Kick back, take some popcorn, and just watch the insanity. And that's going to save you a whole lot of sanity. And then when you're starting to save your sanity in that way, your energy's not being taken up by all of that nonsense. Your energy's not being taken up by grinding and grinding is why they won't wake up. Why won't they wake up? Why don't they take my advice? Why don't, all of these things that we feel as healers, when we've got especially, friends and family around us that totally asleep. We're trying to help them. Banging your head against the wall. If you can take yourself out of that, that saves up so much more energy, personal energy, for you to put towards for you to put towards what you want to, whether that be a hobby, whether that be your personal growth, whether that be actually just getting your body back into a balance, because you're constantly giving away energy that you're walking around forever, energetically bankrupt, which is a terrible state to be in, which most of us are in, because we don't know how to separate ourselves out from what is us and what is theater. So watch the theater. Don't engage it. Don't engage them if you can help it. Because it's just, you've done it. You've engaged them. I mean, what point comes from that? What good comes from that? It doesn't. So, all the world is a stage, my darlings. Take that with you. Thank you for joining me for Wisdom Wednesdays on Redesign Your Life Forever. Man, my brain is totally fried. It was a very busy day. All right, my loves, I love you all. Be sure to check out the website as it keeps growing and forming. Check out the YouTube and all of these things. It is also growing and forming. We are growing like crazy, and I'm super excited to have you with me on this journey. April says, smart words, I'm in awe. Oh, bless your heart. Thank you. Thank you for your kind words, as always. So thank you for joining me, all of my lovely darlings. I love you all. This has been Daniella, and I will see you all next time.